I think we're going to go ahead and start. If everybody could please make sure to sign in, please enter your full name, position, organization, and email address in the chat box. It's just for attendance purposes. I would really appreciate it. My name is Martha Samaniego. I am one of the program specialists here with the Housing and Workforce Solutions Continuum of Care, and I will be presenting alongside our COC intern, Anthony Roman. I will let him introduce himself as well.
Yeah, thank you, Martha. Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Anthony Roman, and I'm currently a student intern. I attend UCR, and I'm currently assisting our homeless youth coordinator, Monique Guerra, with planning the youth point in time count. And so I help with planning the Come and Be Connected events that you may have heard of, and that I'll speak a little bit about later, as well as securing deployment sites and other activities. And I also help Martha a little bit with the service base count. So I may have reached out to you at some point. So my name may seem familiar to you, but yes, I'm very happy to help the planning team as well as Martha with the service base count. And I'll be presenting later in the presentation about more of the specifics of the service base count and the logistics and expectations during the 3-day event. So I'll bring it that. I'll give it back to Martha.
Thank you, Anthony. And yes, as you guys can see, we are putting our interns to work hard at work here. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and start the service-based partner orientation. It will be brief. We will go through the slides fairly quickly. If you do have any questions, you are welcome to put those into the chat box, or you can actually raise your hand and we can go ahead and answer those as we go. Whatever you feel most comfortable with. We will have a question slide at the end, and that will be available for you as well. So please feel free to jump in if you have any questions. This is being recorded. It will be available to you through the Google Drive. I will also provide a YouTube link at the end of this presentation. Most of you guys have already done this, but unless you are speaking, it is being requested that all attendees please mute your microphones during the meeting so that everyone can hear the meeting effectively. I thank you guys so much for already doing that. We have completed our introductions. As far as our agenda today, we're just going to go over the volunteer registration, introduction to the general point in time count, the mobile survey tool, the importance and purpose of the service-based count, implementing the service-based count, our community partner roles, mark your calendars, other ways to be involved, and any questions. So the volunteer registration, I know it has been a little bit confusing, but the volunteer registration is vital, it's critical, it's important in that in the volunteer registration, you will be completing a liability waiver. It will ask if you're bilingual or if you can provide transportation. Those are mainly if you are participating in any other point in time count events. We have several events going on during this time. Again, it's to ensure that all information is received and so that you are aware of your responsibilities and your roles in those particular events. When you sign up, you do have the option to select the city that you would like to volunteer in. For the service-based count, you just have to enter in the site location where you're at. So if you're in India, you put India. Unless you want to volunteer in any other locations on any other days, you are welcome to put that down as well. In general, we will collect any contact information for emergencies purposes. And please, if persons are not registered, they should not be completing the survey. We do keep track of who is a volunteer and who is completing the survey. If the volunteer isn't registered, we could potentially lose out on anybody they might count on. So please make sure that they are registered. In addition to that, the general and the youth training took place on 1/10, which was 2 days ago, and 1/11. If you were unable to attend, is perfectly fine. You can send an email to rivcopit@rivco.org. They will send you the recording of that specific training, and at the end, they will also provide, it's a brief, I think, questionnaire. It's basically to ensure that you did listen to the training, that you are aware of your responsibilities in regards to the training, to ensure that you did complete it. So please make sure to listen to the recording and its completely, and to answer those questions at the end. Otherwise, it might mark you as not completing the training itself. The general volunteer registration does close on January 17th. Once the registration is closed, we will know how many volunteers are available in the event. Say your site needed um, one or two outside volunteers to do the counting for surveys. We will know better at that point if we have availability to send anybody out to your specific site. I know for many of you, it's not really requested because your own staff is able to complete the survey. So we appreciate that. The general point in time count introduction. So the data that we collect from this is what we utilize in order to apply for funding. Obviously, it's critical to ensure that we have an accurate count throughout the county. This is something that is completed throughout the nation on the same days. So it is vital that we are able to collect any person who is unsheltered, unhoused, who is homeless, so that we have accurate numbers when we are applying for grants. That is the vital importance of it. It determines our federal funding for homeless programs. Um, it the state homeless funding allocation is based on the data that we collect on this, and it is a critical role when the continuum of care is competing for different programs. We can be going up against a county such as LA, which is much larger than us, and if we don't have an accurate number, we're basing it on that data collected. So that's why it's so important. Orientation is the orientation recording is available for the pick count training on that website on the YouTube. It will be provided to you, so you will have access to that once I'm able to send this out to you at the end of this orientation. Kind of a breakdown of what the 2023 count comes by. We look at a mobile survey tool, we have volunteer registration, we have community partners and stakeholders, city leaders, a service-based count, veteran and youth, along with senior service referrals, um, volunteer recruitment, publicity and awareness, youth pit count training, geolocation mapping. So there's so many things that come into play when it comes to the general point in time count. The mobile survey, if you guys were able to participate in the general or the youth training that took place, it would have gone over the mobile survey, how to download the app, how to log into the app, um, what the app looks like. If you have done this in previous years, I know many of you might have participated in previous years in the survey, you will want to go ahead and delete that app and just re-download it, just for the purposes of ensuring that you do have the 2023 point in time count survey for Riverside County. We don't want you using the 2022, and then again, it won't capture the data that you have entered for 2023. So just make sure to look at that when you are looking at your app. And now I will let Anthony take over and go over the service-based count specifics.
Thank you, Martha. Yeah, so I'll just be going over the service-based count specifics. So we'll just be talking about, again, what is a service-based count, why it's incredibly important to contributing to our overall efforts to get an accurate count in the county, what to expect on the days of the service-based count, and important dates as well later on. And Martha, feel free to interject at the end of any slide if you feel like I may have missed a thing or two. Yeah, you're more than welcome to pitch in as well. So what is the service-based count? Let's get started. So the service-based count is essentially a 3-day event that occurs during our general and youth point in time counts, our street-based counts. So this is sort of an additional effort to, again, get a more accurate count of the unsheltered individuals in Riverside County. So that's where your organization agency comes into play. So we ask volunteers, both public and private agencies, who may provide resources to individuals who are experiencing homelessness and are unsheltered, who may be couch surfing. These individuals may be more difficult to count, more invisible, you can say. So this is just an additional effort that we're taking to get them counted and surveyed as they come to locations to get resources. So that is why the service-based count's actually really important part on top of the street-based count. So next slide, please, Martha. I'll just start talking about now how we actually implement the service-based count, right? So again, like I mentioned, our department works hard to identify and invite as many agencies as possible to participate as service-based count partners. So we ask service agencies that provide services to those who may be experiencing homelessness, such as like soup kitchens, mobile vans, drop-in centers, libraries, and other community locations. Again, where they may be frequent and that where they may be during the time of the count instead on the street, so that we make sure that they get counted at these locations during those 3 days, so that by the end of those 3 days we can have a more accurate count and more accurate data. And then the third step is that we is more on your end, is where you identify members of your own staff or request volunteers to survey individuals who self-identify as homelessness. Um, and so that's where, again, another important step is if you have not already taken the training, please do so as quickly as possible at your earliest convenience, or request a volunteer who has received the training to conduct the surveys on your behalf. And then again, the final step is that anyone conducting an interview/survey is required to register as a volunteer and participate in the training and sign liability release waivers. So again, it's important that you are registered. So like Martha mentioned, that no survey is lost during these 3 days. Um, so please keep that in mind as well. So next slide, please, Martha. So defining more of your role in the service-based count, um, we'll go into that a little bit more. Next slide, please, Martha. So what are exactly our expectations for our partners, such as yourselves, right? So we expect during those 2 days, the 25th, the 26th, and 27th, for you to be just conducting business as usual, providing services throughout the day. The hours are 9 to 5. And so we ask that, anyone who is coming in that may be experiencing homelessness can receive services. And then the second step would be, of course, to train and register staff through the volunteer training. And so that on the days of the count, that you can be on the lookout for individuals who may be experiencing homelessness and is trying to access services, that you can ask them a question, such as that would have them self-identify as homelessness or couch surfing or experiencing housing instability, and so that you can conduct the quick and short surveys. So um, while you conduct the survey, provide a private space for the interview to occur, right? So, just take a moment, step aside, ask the participant if they have a couple of minutes to take a really quick survey that is for the point in time count, and ensure that you are following the safety measures mentioned in the volunteer training. So overall, again, conducting business as usual, and just adding this survey included into your 9 to 5 schedule after delivering services, and identifying anyone who you know already may be experiencing homelessness, or anyone new who is coming in and you suspect that may be experiencing homelessness as well. So next slide, please, Martha.
I'm just going to add a couple things. As far as the service base, the reason is because a lot of times when we do the general count, from 5:30 to 9:30, it is at the same time, again, across the nation, but sometimes we might not capture those individuals before they've moved on to their next location. So a lot of times if they are going to one of your offices, one of your agencies, one of your organizations, you might be able to intercede and capture those numbers that we might have missed. So that's part of the importance of it as well. In addition to this particular slide, the one I do want to emphasize on, obviously they're all important, is providing a private space for that interview. The reason why we have this on here is because, as you know, a lot of the individuals have already experienced trauma, whether it be whatever it might be. So to have to answer this survey, and oftentimes it can take about 15 to 20 minutes. It kind of just depends on the questions or the answers that they provide on to the questions. You want to give them that privacy, that ability to be comfortable in answering all these questions. And as it is, they're already going through so much trauma that they're having to kind of go over and explain everything again. So that's why there's that importance put onto providing the private space. Now, obviously, as available, if your location doesn't have a private area or you don't feel comfortable, always think of safety, then that's fine. Obviously, when in doubt, trust your gut. So if it does not feel like a comfortable space to maybe do it in private, that's fine. But if you do have that available and you're comfortable with doing it, please make sure to give them that little bit of privacy and respect that they also deserve. So just to add that.
Thank you so much, Martha. All right. Now that we went over more of the why the importance of the service-based count, we can talk a little bit more about the to-do list and the logistics, right? So many of you probably have already completed some of these steps, but for those who haven't or are watching the recording and are interested in participating, then these are important notes to keep in mind. So completing the Google form if you haven't already for this to participate as a service-based count partner. So that would include, the hours of operation, the number of people typically served, types of services provided, et cetera, and registering staff or volunteering, right? So like as we've mentioned throughout the presentation, one thing we really want to emphasize is for all staff that are participating in the service-based count to complete the training um, to know how to conduct surveys as a part of the training. So, and if not, again, requesting volunteers who have participated in the training to conduct the surveys on your behalf. And coordinating a pickup of materials needed, such as the incentive bags, which you will be distributing after or as a part of the survey process. So I know Martha has a note in terms of incentive bags, so I'll go ahead and let her speak about that.
Yeah, so I haven't had a chance to send an email out to you guys because I was trying to wait to see how many incentive bags we had available. We do have some availability to provide your agencies, your organizations with some of these incentive bags. And it comes with, a few, hygiene kits, stuff that they would normally not have access to or might have to pay for. So if you have maybe a rough idea, maybe you think you want one or you want 5 bags, just in case you do encounter these individuals on these 3 days, let us know. I'm going to send you an email with all of this information as far as the incentive bags go. And if you are interested in obtaining some of these bags, you would just need to set up a scheduled pickup with Monique or Josh if you're out in the desert area, Monique here in Riverside, and we could potentially provide you with some of those incentive bags. And it's an incentive for them to complete the survey. So, and even if you start the survey and they say, "Oh, I've already been surveyed," it'll automatically just close out the survey because you're done, surveying them. You can still provide them that incentive bag at that point. So it's just, like I said, it's something to give them. It allows them to have a little bit for themselves. So just to keep that in mind, I will be emailing you guys that information after this orientation.
Thank you, Martha. And I saw one additional note there saying to spread the word to fellow agencies and partners that may be interested in participating in the service-based count, right? If not this year, then maybe next. If you're aware of any agencies who do have frequent visitors seeking resources that may be experiencing homelessness, then please let them know about how you experienced what and recommend them to participate as well next year. Um, and that was all I wanted to say about that. All right, next slide,
Well,
please.
and
Oh,
I will add that I
mhm.
apologize for any confusion with, the different emails and such. So obviously we're going to keep working on trying to make this more streamlined, make it easier for everybody to participate. So when we do finish off the point in time count for this year. We will be sending out surveys, asking for any suggestions, any information that you want to provide. Feel free to provide all that information. I know some of it came with some difficulties here with the service-based count. I do apologize ahead of time, but we are continually working to try to better improve everything. So we appreciate that you are doing this just to serve the public that we're trying to assist. So thank you.
Yes, definitely. Thank you all for participating. And then one of the last things that we wanted to cover was some important dates and deadlines to keep in mind. So volunteer general count training has actually already been conducted. However, there is a recording that is available to you on the Google Drive that we linked here on the presentation slide. And if Martha is free to do so, she can also link the Google Drive in the chat, and you may have access to it that way. And then the volunteer youth count training as well. We'll also have a recording available for that. Um, and so the volunteer registration will be closing on January 17th, 2023. So that is next week. So that'll be your last chance to, again, receive the training for the service-based count to conduct the surveys. However, the registration to be a service-based count partner actually closes tomorrow at noon. So two important an important distinction to make there between the two registrations is that for the service-based count, that will be tomorrow at noon, and then for the volunteer registration to receive training, that will be next week on January 17th. So two important distinctions to make there. And then again, the dates will be 25th to 27th, 9 to 5. And if you are interested in also participating in the general point in time count or the youth point in time count, the dates are there at the bottom as well. Or if you are interested in promoting the youth and general counts for any potential volunteers, then you can let them know that those are the dates that the count will be conducted.
Okay,
Um,
and this is actually going to be my plug as well for the youth count. I know everybody has graciously volunteered for the service-based count, but if you are at all interested, if you have any high school students in your family or your household who are at least age of 16 and you are willing to accompany them to get some of those hours that they might need for volunteers, they are more than welcome to sign up for the youth count. The general count, we have a lot of volunteers. We can always use more, but the youth count really, really, really needs more volunteers, and it is always looking to get volunteers. And the critical part with the youth is that they experience homelessness very differently. So for them, it's not going to be the same as when we do the general points and count. So if you are able to and you're willing and you have maybe a high schooler that is needing some volunteer hours, this is a great time to take them out and have them experience this. So that's just an extra plug on that part, just so that you guys know.
Thank you, Martha. Yes, all hands need to be on deck for the general and the youth count. We are in great need for extra volunteers as well for the youth count. So I second that, Martha. Thank you. Um, and other ways to be involved. Already you are all doing plenty as participating already as service-based count partners. However, if you're able, we would greatly appreciate it, is promoting the count on social media using the press kit that will be made available to you that has flyers, like PDF formats, and also formatted for social media. So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We have all of those prepared in one file for your convenience. So that is one way that you can also be involved in promoting, again, the youth count, which we need more volunteers for. We could use that assistance as well. And then one additional way to be involved that I'm also taking part in is the Come and Be Connected events for youth. So this is we're hosting 4 Come and Be Connected events throughout Riverside County at our California Family Life Centers. We have one in Rubidoux, one in Hemet, one in Indio, and one in Lake Elsinore. So and we are targeting transitional aged youth, 18 to 24. So this is an event on top of the service-based count, on top of the general street-based count, the youth count. This is an extra additional event to not only survey youth that may be missed and not a part of the count on those 3 days, but also to act as a resource fair for them and provide a safe space for them to get connected to resources such as Medi-Cal, healthcare services, sexual health services, legal services. We will be having multiple vendors participating that will be assisting these youth to that may lack the access to these resources all in one space during the days of the count. It'll be during the 26th and the 27th. Again, in Indio, Hemet, Lake Elsinore, and here in Riverside and out the Rubidoux Life Center. So we could use additional assistance as well promoting those events as youth are more active and are on social media. So promoting this on social media would be big to get our awareness up. This is only the second year that we are hosting these events, so we can use all the awareness that we can get. And again, we are taking volunteers for the Come and Be Connected events. As well as if you are aware of any youth clients that frequently come into your agency, then maybe we can promote it to them as well, make them aware of it, and they can also receive further hygiene kit, insectant bags, and other resources at these events as well. So yeah, those are the 2 other ways that you can be involved as well. And if Martha has anything else to add, I think we are good on this slide. I think we are now, yeah, okay. So now we're going to open the floor to any questions that any of you may have, anything we might have missed that you're still wondering about regarding the service-based count, logistics, expectations. And we can answer them now. And just so you all know, Martha and I will be available to you during the days of the service-based count, myself particularly on the 25th, and Martha during those 3 days as well. So please reach out to us if you need assistance via email. And yeah, now we can open the floor to anyone who has any questions. Thank you all for listening and for allowing me to present to you all today.
And I second that. I thank you guys again for participating, for joining in, for listening, for taking the time to do this. I know it is extra time out of your day to, conduct these surveys, to participate. And so we really do appreciate everything that you are doing to assist us, assist others, obviously within our county. And in all certainty, this information is something that, like I said, the data we collect is going to, serve the purpose of serving all of Riverside County in all of our programs. It's data that we collect with the continuum of care that, your agencies are able to access as well. So potentially it would be assisting you in the future. Say if you're an organization and you're applying for a grant privately, you're able to request some of this data to actually apply for those grants. So this is information that's available to you. I will be sending out that email. Do I have any questions at this time? It does not look like I have any questions. So, hey, Anthony, we did a fantastic job. I am going to stop this recording now. And